Once upon a time, in a faraway land where the sky shimmered with silver light and the trees whispered secrets to the wind, there was a magical place called Moonlight Forest. Every night, the moon would spread its soft glow across the leaves, making the entire forest shine as if sprinkled with glittering diamonds. Moonlight Forest was no ordinary place. The flowers hummed gentle tunes when the sun rose, the rivers played cheerful songs as they flowed over smooth stones, and even the tall oak trees swayed as if dancing with the breeze. The animals here were not like animals in other lands. They could speak, laugh, sing, and share stories just like people. For many years, the forest had lived in peace and joy. But one night, something strange happened. Something that had never happened before. The brightest star in the sky, a beautiful, glowing star named Lumia, suddenly disappeared. The moment Lumia vanished, the forest plunged into a deep silence. The crickets stopped their chirping. The owls, who usually hooted proudly at night, sat quietly on the branches. The frogs by the river refused to sing their croaky songs. Even the flowers, who loved to sway in the moonlight, folded their petals and drooped as if they were afraid. The next morning, a small white rabbit named Pofu woke up in his burrow under the roots of an old tree. Pofu stretched his long ears, blinked his shiny black eyes, and hopped outside. But instead of hearing the usual cheerful chatter of the forest, he heard nothing, only silence. Pofu's nose twitched nervously. Strange, where are the birds? Where are the frogs? Why is everything so quiet? He whispered. He hopped to the riverbank, but no cheerful splashes greeted him. He hopped to the meadow, but no flowers danced. Finally, he hopped to the tallest oak tree, where the wisest animal in the forest lived, Orno the owl. Orno was an old, gray-feathered owl with enormous golden eyes that seemed to know everything. He was perched high on a branch, looking unusually worried. Orno! Pofu called, his voice echoing in the stillness. What's going on? Why is the forest so silent today? The old owl fluttered down to a lower branch and spoke in a low, serious tone. Pofu, last night, something terrible happened. The brightest star in the sky, Lumia, has vanished. Pofu's little heart skipped a beat. Vanished? How can a star just disappear? Did it fall? Did it break? Orno shook his head slowly. No, little one. Stars don't simply break. Someone, or something, took Lumia away. And without her light, our nights will remain dark and frightening. The animals feel unsafe. The forest cannot sing. If Lumia does not return, Moonlight Forest may never shine again. Pofu's ears drooped. He had never seen the forest so sad before. He gazed up at the pale morning sky, imagining the missing star. His heart filled with determination. Then we must bring her back, he said firmly. We can't let the forest stay dark forever. Tell me, Orno, where can I find Lumia? The owl blinked his wise eyes. That is not an easy question, little rabbit. Stars leave behind trails of silver dust, but only the brave can follow them. The path will be long, full of dangers and riddles. You are small, Pofu, and the journey may frighten you. Pofu lifted his chin. His whiskers trembled, but his voice was strong. I may be small, but I am not afraid. If I don't try, who will? I will find Lumia and bring her home. Orno studied the little rabbit for a long moment. Then he spread his wings and gave a solemn nod. Very well. Follow the trail of silver dust. It will lead you to the truth. But remember, courage alone is not enough, you will need friends along the way. Pofu's heart beat faster. Friends? He didn't know who would join him, but he hoped he wouldn't be alone. With one last look at the wise owl, he hopped off, determined to follow the trail. The silver trail began near the edge of the meadow. Tiny sparkling specks glittered faintly in the grass, leading deeper into the unknown parts of the forest. Pofu hopped carefully, his nose twitching, his ears alert. As he followed the trail, he soon heard a rustling sound in the trees above. A small, lively creature jumped down right in front of him. It was a bright-eyed squirrel with a fluffy tail almost bigger than her body. "Where are you going, little rabbit?" asked the squirrel with a curious grin. "I'm following the trail of silver dust," Pofu explained. "The star Lumia is missing, and I'm going to find her." The squirrel's eyes widened. "What? Lumia is gone? Oh no, no, no! I can't sleep without her light. I'll have nightmares." "You're really going to find her?" "Yes," Pofu said bravely. "I promised Orno I would. But the journey is long, and the forest feels darker already." The squirrel clapped her tiny paws. "Then I'm coming with you. My name is Xiao Xiao, and I'm the fastest climber in all the forest. If there's danger, I'll spot it first." Pofu smiled, feeling a little braver. "Thank you, Xiao Xiao. Together, we will be stronger." So the rabbit and the squirrel followed the silver trail together. They hopped and climbed, sharing stories and laughter to keep their courage alive. After a while, the trail led them to a small sparkling pond. The water shimmered strangely, reflecting the missing star's glow. Sitting on a lily pad was a tiny blue frog with the brightest smile they had ever seen. "Hello, travelers," croaked the frog cheerfully. "Where are you heading in such a hurry?" "We're looking for Lumia," Pofu explained. "She's missing, and the forest needs her light." The frog gasped, then nodded firmly. "Then you need help. I am Mavai, the bravest frog of the pond. I can swim across rivers, leap across stones, and sing songs to chase away fear. Please, let me join your quest." Xiao Xiao clapped excitedly. "Yes, yes, come with us. The more friends, the better." Pofu's heart filled with warmth. He was no longer alone. He had friends, true friends who wanted to help. Together, the rabbit, the squirrel, and the frog looked up at the sky, where Lumia should have been shining. "We will find you," Pofu whispered. "No matter where you are, we'll bring you home." The silver trail sparkled more brightly, as if encouraging them. And so, the three little adventurers stepped forward, ready to begin their journey into the unknown. The silver trail glittered faintly as Pofu, Xiao Xiao, and Mavai journeyed deeper into the unknown parts of Moonlight Forest. The trees grew taller, their branches weaving together like a roof, letting only thin slivers of light through. Every rustle of leaves made the little adventurers pause, their hearts thumping with both fear and excitement. Xiao Xiao the squirrel scampered ahead, her fluffy tail flicking. "This is the farthest I've ever gone," she admitted, glancing nervously at the shadows between the trees. Mavai the frog hopped beside Pofu and croaked reassuringly. "Don't worry, friends. I'll keep us cheerful with a song." He puffed out his throat and began to sing in a deep, silly voice. Musical note, hop, hop, hop. We'll never stop. Through forests deep. Our courage will keep, musical note. Pofu giggled despite his nerves. "Thank you, Mavai. That makes me feel braver." But soon the trail of silver dust led them to the mouth of a dark cave. Its jagged rocks looked like teeth, and a cold wind blew out from inside, carrying a low, haunting echo. Shell shivered. Do we really have to go in there? Pofu's ears twitched. He felt his paws tremble, but he remembered Orno's words, only the brave can follow the star's trail. Yes, he said softly. If Lumia's trail goes inside, then we must follow it. She's waiting for us. The three friends stepped cautiously into the cave. Inside, the air was damp and heavy. Water dripped from the ceiling with slow, echoing plops. Their footsteps echoed, making the place seem even bigger. The silver dust sparkled faintly on the ground, leading them deeper. But as they followed, they heard a low rumble. Who dares enter my cave? The voice was deep and booming, making the walls tremble. The friends froze. Out of the darkness, a shape began to form. At first it looked like smoke, swirling and twisting. Then it grew taller, darker, until it towered above them, a creature made of black mist, with glowing red eyes. It was the dreaded shadow beast, known in the forest as the Black Fog. Mavi croaked loudly and leapt behind Pofu. Oh no! Oh no! It's him! Shell squeaked, hiding her face in her tail. We should run. We should hide. But Pofu swallowed his fear. His tiny voice shook, but he spoke anyway. We are looking for Lumia, the lost star. Did you take her? The shadow beast let out a laugh that rumbled like thunder. Foolish creatures! I do not eat stars. Their light burns me. But I know who did. The three friends exchanged glances. Pofu's eyes widened. Then tell us, please. We must save her. The shadow beast leaned closer, its mist curling around them like dark smoke. She has been taken to the far north, beyond the rivers and mountains, to the icy peak where the sorcerer Zorkin dwells. He is cruel and greedy. He captured Lumia to use her light for his own dark magic. The friends gasped in unison. Zorkin, whispered Shell. The sorcerer who freezes rivers and traps birds in ice? Yes, rumbled the shadow beast. If you wish to save your precious star, you must face him. But beware, his powers are strong, and he trusts no one. Pofu's little heart pounded. A dangerous sorcerer. Could they really stand against such a being? The shadow beast seemed to sense his fear. Turn back, little ones. The world beyond this cave is full of storms and peril. You are small, weak, and foolish. The star is lost forever. For a moment, the cave fell silent. Mavi's throat made a nervous rib bit, and Shell trembled. But then Pofu took a step forward. His voice was small but firm. No. The star is not lost. Not as long as we try. We may be small, but together we are strong. We will face Zorkin, no matter what it takes. The shadow beast blinked its glowing eyes at him. Then, surprisingly, it chuckled softly. Ahem! Such courage, from such tiny creatures. Very well. If you insist on going, I will give you advice. Follow the river north until you reach the frozen valley. But beware the storms. Only true friendship will carry you through. The mist swirled, and with a final echoing laugh, the shadow beast melted back into the darkness of the cave. The friends let out the breaths they had been holding. We survived, Mavi croaked, trembling. I thought we were frog stew for sure. Shell puffed up her cheeks. and I thought my tail was going to fall off from fear. Pofu smiled weakly. But we did it. We faced him together. And now we know where Lumia is, we have to go north. They left the cave quickly, relieved to feel the fresh air again. Outside, the forest seemed brighter, as if cheering them on. The silver trail sparkled ahead, leading toward a rushing river. The journey to the river was not easy. The ground became rocky, and the trees thinned, giving way to steep hills. Their paws and feet grew tired, but they kept going. Finally, they reached the riverbank. The river was wide and wild, foaming with rushing water. Crossing it seemed impossible. Xiao Xiao groaned. We can't swim across this. The current would sweep us away in seconds. But Mavai puffed out his chest proudly. Leave this to me. I am a pond frog, and water is my friend. He hopped onto a floating leaf and tested the flow of the current. Too strong for leaves. But maybe, a raft. Together, the friends gathered fallen branches, tying them together with vines. It took a long time, but at last they built a small raft. Mavai steered with a stick, while Pofu and Xiao Xiao held on tightly. The river roared and splashed, pushing their raft from side to side. For a moment, it seemed they might tip over. But Mavai croaked loudly, "Hold on, friends. Trust me." And trust him they did. With a mighty leap and a clever push of his stick, Mavai guided the raft safely to the other side. When they reached the shore, Xiao Xiao hugged the frog tightly. "Mavai, you're amazing." The little frog blushed. "Hee hee. I told you water is my friend." Pofu smiled at his companions. "We're doing it. We're really doing it. We're on our way to save Lumia." The silver trail glowed brighter, winding its way northward, toward distant snow-capped peaks. The friends set off once more, their hearts full of hope, even as the air grew colder and the sky darkened with storm clouds. Somewhere far ahead, beyond rivers and valleys, beyond mountains and storms, the lost star waited for them. And they would not stop until they found her. The forest slowly gave way to rocky cliffs and icy winds. The silver trail still sparkled faintly, guiding the three friends farther north. But now the trees stood bare, their branches frosted with white, and the ground crunched beneath their paws and feet. The air grew colder with every step, stinging their noses and making their breath puff out like little clouds. Xiao Xiao the squirrel wrapped her fluffy tail around herself, shivering. "Byaa! I don't like this at all. My tail is supposed to keep me warm, but it feels like I'm sitting in a snowstorm already." Mavai the frog hugged himself tightly, his little body trembling. "Frogs are not meant for ice. My toes feel frozen solid. Hop, 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 and they'll break right off." Pofu, though his ears quivered with cold, kept hopping forward bravely. "We must keep moving." The shadow beast said the star was taken to the frozen valley. "If we stop, the cold will win. But if we stay together, we can make it." So on they went, through howling winds and snowy hills, until they reached the edge of the valley. The frozen valley stretched before them, a vast plain of ice and snow, surrounded by mountains that pierced the clouds. The wind screamed as it rushed through the peaks, carrying icy flakes that stung like tiny needles. The silver trail glittered across the frozen ground, leading right into the heart of the valley. But the valley was not empty. Strange shapes moved among the snow, creatures made of ice and shadow, wandering aimlessly as if patrolling. Their bodies glowed faintly blue, and their eyes shone like frozen lanterns. Shell gasped. What are those? Mavi croaked nervously. They don't look friendly. Not friendly at all. Pofu narrowed his eyes. They must be Zorkin's minions. He must have sent them to guard the valley. The creatures, ice wolves, shadowy birds, and strange frozen beasts, patrolled in silence, their paws and wings leaving glowing marks in the snow. The three friends crouched behind a boulder, peeking out carefully. We can't fight them, whispered Shell. They're too big, too strong. Then we'll sneak past, Pofu said firmly. Together. They waited until the creatures wandered farther away. Then, moving slowly and quietly, they crept across the snow. Every crunch of ice beneath their paws made their hearts jump. Mavi tried to hop as gently as he could, but each leap made a squeak in the snow. One of the ice wolves lifted its head, sniffing the air. Its glowing eyes swept the valley. The friends froze, hardly daring to breathe. For a moment, it seemed the wolf would come closer, but then it turned away, vanishing into the storm. Pofu exhaled in relief. That was close. Step by step, they made their way across the valley, ducking behind snowdrifts and icy rocks. But the deeper they went, the colder and darker it became. The silver trail flickered weakly, almost as if it were struggling to stay lit. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the valley. The ground trembled beneath their feet. A fissure split open in the ice, right in front of them, spreading wider and wider. The three friends yelped in alarm. Run, cried Pofu. They dashed forward as the crack chased them, splitting the valley floor apart. Snow and ice crumbled, falling into a deep abyss below. With a desperate leap, they managed to land on solid ground, just as the chasm closed behind them. Panting, Shell looked back, her eyes wide. That wasn't natural. Someone made that happen. As if in answer, a cold, booming laugh echoed across the valley. It wasn't the shadow beast this time. It was deeper, crueler, filled with power. Little intruders, the voice thundered, carried by the icy wind. You dare step into my valley? You dare follow the trail of my prize? The friends looked up. At the far end of the valley, high upon a ridge of ice, stood a tall figure in a cloak of frost. His staff glowed with blue fire, and his eyes burned like shards of ice. It was Zorkin the sorcerer. Even from a distance, his presence was terrifying. The mere sound of his voice made the snow swirl faster, the wind howl louder. Pofu trembled but stood tall. We're not afraid of you, Zorkin. We're here to take back Lumia, the star you stole. Zorkin threw back his head and laughed, a laugh that made the mountains tremble. Foolish little creatures. Do you think you can defy me? The star's light belongs to me now. With her glow, I will cover the world in endless winter. No forest, no animal, no life will escape my frost. Shell shouted, though her voice quavered. You can't keep her. The forest needs her light, and we will stop you. Zorkin slammed his staff into the ground. A shockwave of ice spread across the valley, knocking the friends off their feet. The frozen beasts lifted their heads and howled, their glowing eyes fixed on the intruders. Then face my guardians. Zorkin roared. If you wish to reach me, you must survive my storm. The ice wolves began to charge, their paws thundering across the snow. Shadowy birds screeched, diving from the stormy sky. The three friends scrambled to their feet, their hearts pounding. We can't fight them all, Mavi cried. Then we run, Pofu shouted. To the mountains, hurry! They sprinted across the valley, snow flying behind them as the icy creatures gave chase. Shell darted left and right, dodging claws and wings. Mavi leapt from drift to drift, narrowly avoiding snapping jaws. Pofu pushed forward with every ounce of strength he had, determined not to give up. The storm howled louder, the snow blinding their path. But through the blizzard, the silver trail still glimmered faintly, guiding them toward the mountains at the far end of the valley. Finally, breathless and battered, they stumbled into a narrow cave at the base of the mountains. The creatures howled outside but did not enter. It seemed the cave was protected somehow. Collapsing on the cold stone floor, the friends gasped for breath. Their bodies ached, their fur and skin were coated in frost, but their hearts were still strong. Pofu looked at his companions and said, "We faced his storm, and we survived. Zorkin is powerful, but he doesn't know what we have." "What do we have?" croaked Mavi, teeth chattering. Pofu smiled faintly. "We have each other. And together, no storm can defeat us." The friends huddled close, sharing what little warmth they had. Outside, the storm raged on, Zorkin's laughter echoing across the valley. But inside the cave, a tiny spark of hope glowed brighter than any blizzard. The journey was far from over. The mountains awaited, and beyond them, Zorkin's icy fortress where Lumia was trapped. And no matter how dark the storm, the little heroes would not give up.
The morning sun bathed the meadow in golden light, shimmering across the dew-kissed grass. The four friends, Liora, Finn, Pip, and Luna, stood side by side, gazing at the horizon. They had faced darkness together, healed the heart of the forest, and seen the magic of unity bring life back to their world. Yet, though the danger had passed, their journey was not yet over. Every ending, after all, is also a beginning. Do you feel it? Liora asked softly, brushing her fingers against the glowing pendant she still wore. It pulsed warmly, as though echoing her heartbeat. Finn nodded. The forest is alive again. It's like every tree, every stream, every bird is singing the same song. Luna lifted her head, her ears twitching. They are singing. Can't you hear it? The forest is thanking us. Pip hopped up onto Finn's shoulder, his whiskers twitching with excitement. We're heroes, aren't we? The great meadow guardians. The others laughed warmly, but Leora's smile faded a little. She turned her eyes toward the ancient oak at the meadow's center. Its branches, once heavy with sorrow, now glistened with emerald leaves and blossoms that sparkled like stars. Though restored, its aura carried a whisper of warning. There's something more, she said thoughtfully. Something unfinished. The others followed her gaze. A soft breeze rustled through the oak's leaves, and then a gentle voice carried on the wind. The forest is safe, but the magic of friendship must be carried into the world beyond. Liora shivered. The oak was speaking to them again. What do you think it means? Finn asked, tilting his head. That our journey doesn't end here, Luna replied, her golden eyes glowing with quiet wisdom. Magic is not just about forests or spells. It's about what we share. And now, we must take it beyond these woods. Pip clapped his tiny paws. An adventure outside the forest. Oh, I like the sound of that.
But Liora hesitated. Beyond the forest is the human world. It's filled with people who don't believe in magic anymore. What if they don't want us there? Finn smiled gently. Then we'll show them. Not through spells or charms, but through kindness, courage, and joy. That's the strongest magic of all. The four friends spent the day preparing. They visited their favorite places in the forest, the sparkling waterfall where Pip had once slipped into the water and Liora had pulled him out, the flower grove where Luna often napped in the sunshine, and the little glade where Finn had first found his courage to stand against the shadow. At each place, they left a gift, a song, a memory, a promise whispered into the breeze. That evening, as the stars began to appear, they returned to the oak. Its great branches stretched wide as if to embrace them. "It is time," the oak said. "The bond you have formed is not just for you. It is a light meant to shine wherever darkness lingers. Go forth, and carry the forest's heart with you." The friends placed their hands and paws together on the glowing heart-shaped pendant. In a burst of soft light, the pendant split into 4 smaller charms, each one holding a piece of the forest's magic. "For each of you," the oak whispered, "so that you may never forget your bond, no matter how far apart you may be." Liora gasped softly as the charm settled into her hand. It was warm, alive, like a piece of the forest itself. The journey beyond the forest was unlike anything they had ever imagined. Fields stretched endlessly, dotted with little villages where children played in the streets. Rivers sparkled as they wound through towns, and mountains loomed proudly in the distance. Everywhere they went, the friends brought with them laughter, hope, and kindness. In one village, they found children too afraid to play because of scary stories about shadows. Liora and Finn gathered the children and told them about their own adventures, how shadows can be defeated when hearts are united. The children laughed, their fears melting away, and soon the village square rang with games and joy. In another town, they found people who had forgotten how to dream, their days weighed down by worry. Luna leapt gracefully onto the rooftops and sang a song so beautiful it stopped everyone in their tracks. Pip darted through the crowd, juggling apples and tumbling with silly tricks until laughter spread like wildfire. By the time they left, the people of that town were smiling again, their eyes shining with wonder. Everywhere they went, the 4 friends saw the same truth. The world was filled with shadows, not of magic but of fear, loneliness, and doubt. And everywhere, their friendship brought light. One evening, after many days of travel, the friends sat around a small fire at the edge of a quiet village. The stars shimmered brightly overhead, and the air was sweet with the scent of night-blooming flowers. "Do you think," Liora asked, her voice hushed, "that we'll always be together like this?" Finn poked the fire with a stick, watching the sparks dance into the night. "Maybe not always in the same place. But in here," he tapped the charm on his chest. "We'll always carry each other." Luna stretched out comfortably by the fire, her tail curled around her paws. "Friendship isn't about never parting. It's about knowing that no matter where we go, we're never truly alone." Pip yawned and flopped against Leora's arm. "And besides, who could ever forget Pip the Brave? You'll all need me for entertainment." They laughed, their voices mingling with the crackle of the fire. Above them, the stars seemed to shine even brighter, as if the heavens themselves were listening. Years passed, and the friends grew. They journeyed far and wide, touching countless lives with their courage and love. The tale of the 4 friends, the girl, the boy, the fox, and the squirrel, spread from village to village, until it became a story told to children everywhere. A story not of great battles or mighty spells, but of something far more powerful, the magic of friendship. And though time carried them on different paths, whenever they looked at their charms, they felt the same warmth, the same bond that had once healed a forest and changed the world. For true friendship is eternal. It does not fade with distance or time. It lives in every kind act, every brave choice, every shared laugh. And so, wherever there is darkness, the light of their bond continues to shine.